Are going to take a look at writing a geometric sequence using the explicit rule and the recursive rule. Now, some of you guys might remember the recursive rule. Remember that?
No.
We don't like it. Yeah, we didn't like it. Remember, it was harder because you always had to work backwards. The cool part about today with the recursive rule is you don't have to solve the recursive rule. You just have to write the recursive rule. You just have to write the formula, then you're done. However, we are going to solve using the explicit rule. So we're going to solve a geometric sequence using the explicit rule. But before we do, I want to make sure that you guys understand the difference between an arithmetic sequence and a geometric sequence. Now, we did an arithmetic sequence back in Module 1. It was like Module 1-3, I don't even know what it was, but way back. Does anybody know what arithmetic sequence is? What is an arithmetic sequence?
Isn't it adding by the same number?
Yeah, adding or subtracting. So can you write this down? It's the common difference. And it's adding or subtracting. So yesterday, we started talking about a geometric sequence. And all you had to find was the ratio. Which the ratio is a common what? It's now common difference means adding and subtracting. So does anybody know what a common ratio is? It is multiplying, yeah. So we are actually, for a geometric sequence, we're finding the ratio. So write this down, the ratio, which is multiplying or dividing. So keep in mind that for our purposes, for what we're doing in 15.2, we're doing a geometric sequence, which is we're going to have to find the ratio. And nothing has to do with finding the common difference. So you're not doing any subtracting. Okay, you're not doing any adding for that as far as finding the ratio. So before we get started on actually how to write a geometric sequence using the explicit rule and the recursive rule, we have to know some vocab. So a couple of vocabs that we need to make sure we understand is a ratio. That's what you did yesterday. How did we find the ratio? Somebody raise your hand and tell me how you found the ratio.
Looked at the differences.
You divide the number.
Multiply by.
Yeah. Yeah, you're dividing the second by the first. So can you write this down real quick? The ratio is found by dividing. Oh, you don't have to write dividing. I'm just going to write the second y value divided by the first y value. Now, somebody could argue, do you have to use the second and the first? The answer is no. I'm going to show you an example of that right here with the problem that I have. If I were to ask you what the ratio is, what is 15 divided by 5? 3. What's 45 divided by 15? 3. What's this divided by this? 3. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So the point is that if I say the second divided by the first, it just makes it easier. It's really the term minus or divided by the previous term. But that seems more difficult. So I like to say the second divided by the first because it makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you guys? Yeah. Okay. All right. So now, in order to write a geometric sequence using the explicit and the recursive, you also have to know what the a of n and the a of 1 is. So let's talk about that. Does anybody think they know what the a of n represents? Yeah. Now I'm going to say it a little different, okay, because I'm going to put it in your terms. Ready? It is the y value you're looking for. So write this down. It is the y value you're looking for. It's the y value you're looking for. Do you have notes? Okay. What is a of 1 then? What do you think a of 1 is? It's the first what? The first y value. Good. It is the first y value. Okay, so now this next part, the n minus 1. You see it's in both formulas, right? What do you think the n minus 1 represents? This can go back to the arithmetic sequence. There's a correlation. Go.
It's the like the common difference. We're taking away one y from we go down y's.
Yeah, but it's a little different than that, but you're right. But what I'm asking, though, is the n. Do you think the n represents the x value or the y value? It's the x value. So the n represents the term you're looking for. So it represents the term you're looking for. Now, hold on, looking for. When I say the term you're looking for, write this part down. It is the x value. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about that because you have to understand this, okay? So if I'm looking at these numbers right here, okay, and I want the ratio, we already got this. What's my ratio? Well, it's 45 divided by 15, which is 5, or 3, sorry, you're right, 3. So the ratio is 3. Okay, if I say, what is the first term? What's my answer? What's the first term? 5. 5 represents my A of 1. Okay, what if I say, what's the fifth term? 405. That represents A of 5. Okay, now what if I said, I want you to find the 16th term? Where would I put 16 in? Would I put it into the A of n, the A of 1, or the n minus 1? N minus 1, because it's 16th term minus 1. See that term, and it's the x value. Are you guys sort of with me? Okay, you're going to understand this a little bit better because right now what we're going to do is we're going to write the explicit formula. We're going to write the recursive formula. But now I want you to look. I told you you're not going to have to solve anything with the recursive formula. Just read this with me real quick or as I'm reading it out loud. All you have to do for the recursive formula is write down A of n equals A parentheses n minus 1 parentheses times by r greater than or n is greater than or equal to 2. Only replace the r for the formula. So the only thing that you have to replace is the r value or the r. What is our ratio for this table right here? 3. So in this recursive rule, all I would write down would be A of n equals A parentheses n minus 1 times what? 3 when n is greater than or equal to 2. That's it. Everything else stays the same. You guys follow me on that? Then you don't have to do anything else with the recursive. That's it. All right? That's it. Now, somebody's going to ask me, why am I writing n is greater than or equal to 2?
Some mathematical equation someone made up in like.
No, not quite. But you were there. It's the math. Okay, and here's the math behind it. Now, remember that n represents the term, right? So say I want the first term. What if I say I want the first term? That's 1 minus 1. What's 1 minus 1?
0.
What's 0 times A?
0.
What's 0 times R? 0. Every single time, what am I going to get? So if I use 1 as my n, I'm always going to get 0. So I have to use the term greater than 1, which is it's going to be 2 or greater. So that's why it's n is greater than or equal to 2. Now if you don't understand what I just said right there, just let it go. And what are you going to do every time for when you're writing the recursive rule? You're going to write down n is greater than or equal to 2. Does that make sense? Just write it down. Okay, so let's get into the work. The work is we're going to use the geometric sequence to find a certain term, okay? So if you take a look right there at the practice problems that we have, the first thing you have to do is you have to identify the ratio and the first A of 1, the first term. So ready? The ratio equals, write this down, and A of 1 equals. So ready? What is my ratio? We've already done this like 5 times. So what's my ratio? 15, yep, divided by 5, which is 3. Now, what's my first term? A of 1 is 5. Write that down. Now, if you look at the geometric sequence right here, I'm only writing the rule. For the first 11 problems on your homework, that's all you have to do is write the rule. You don't have to find a term. So all I'm writing down right now is the rule. So E, explicit rule, equals A of n, which is whatever term I ask you to get, right, is equal to, what is my A of 1? 5 times, what's my ratio? 3. And then I write what? N minus 1 as my exponent. Now, if I said I want the rule, that's all you would write. Done. Okay, but now in the second part of your homework, it's now going to say, hey, I want the 9th term. If I want the 9th term, now we're going to plug it in. So ready? Now I write A of what? What term do I want? See right here, the term you're looking for. So what do I want? The 9th term, yep, is equal to 5 times 3, and what do I write right here? 9 minus 1. Now if I do this math, it will give me the 9th term. Okay, so let's do this math, and this is where kids need to pay attention to because some kids aren't doing this correctly. Do I multiply 5 times 3 first? No, I have to do order of operations, which is my exponents. So I'm going to do 5 times 3 to the 9th power. So go ahead and do that math. 3 to the 9th power times 5. Can somebody do it so I can get an answer written down? 9 minus 1. Thank you. 9 minus 1 is 8. Yeah, do that 8. Sorry, that way we can get the right answer. So 3 to the 8th power times 5. 3 to the 8th power, and then we're going to times that by 5. So our answer is a to the 9th power, or I'm sorry, a to the 9 equals 32,000. Did everybody else get this too?
Yeah.
Okay, 32,805. So if I ask you what the 9th term is, you would tell me it was 32,805. Can everybody do that? Easy peasy, right? We can do that. Okay, you're going to see it in the form of a table, and you're going to also see it in the form of just a sequence. But before we go any further, we're going to write the recursive, okay? So now the recursive, colon, make me a colon right there. And remember, what's the only thing we have to replace? The R. Okay, we just have to replace the R. So we're writing A of n, that should be sub below, equals A parentheses n minus 1 parentheses, what's my ratio? 3. And then we're writing n is greater than or equal to 2, and we're done with the recursive. And you won't have to do anything else with the recursive. That's it. Okay? Got that? All right, so let's do the second one real quick. Tell me what my ratio is. Okay, ratio is 24 over 6, which is 4. And what is my first term, my A of 1? 6. Is everybody with me on that? Okay, so again, my A of 1 is my Y value. This is my first term, second term, and so on. All right, let's write our explicit rule. So A of n equals, what is my A of 1? 6 times my ratio, which is 4, and then I'm writing n minus 1 because I'm repeating that all we're doing is writing the rule, okay? We're just writing the rule. Write down this is E, explicit. That's your explicit rule. Now if I said to you, I want the, I don't want to go too high. Let's make it the 8th term. If I say I want the 8th term, what do I write now? A of what? 8 equals 6 times 4 to the what? 8 minus 1. So 6 times 4 to the 7th equals A of 8. All right, somebody do that math. 4 to the 7th power, and then times by 6. And A of 8 equals 98,304. Not bad, right, guys? Can you write the recursive rule? What's the only thing you're replacing? The R. Let's do it real quick. I'm writing it right at the bottom of my paper. Okay, so recursive rule equals A of what? N equals A parentheses n minus 1. What's my ratio? 4 times by 4, n greater than or equal to 2. Done? Got it? All right, so now you're going to flip it over to the next page. So here's the deal. What if you don't have the first term and, yeah, what if we don't have the first term and we need the first term to write the rule? We're going to work backwards, okay? So write that down, we work backwards. Now I showed the kids both ways last hour, and I'm going to start with the hard way, and then I'm going to show you the easy way. You can use either way, okay? But what information do we have? Well, we have what term? The 3rd term and the 5th term. So everybody write down A of 3 equals 120, and A of what? 5 equals 76.8. Well, what are the two things that we need in order to write an explicit rule? We need the ratio and we need the first term, okay? So what we're going to do first is we're going to find the ratio. Now I want you to think this through for me, okay? Now I'm going to move this just for a second. If I say the first term is 5, I'm using that other example, well, I'm going to change it a little bit. The second term is 10. How do I find the 3rd term? Don't I multiply it by what? What's my ratio? 2. In order to find the third term, wouldn't I multiply it by 2? Okay, so that would be 20. If I wanted to find the fourth term, I'd multiply it by the ratio, right? Okay, if I want to find the fifth term, wouldn't I multiply it by the ratio? Okay, so now I want you to look right here. So isn't a of 5, write this down, a of 5 equal to a of 3, which is my third term, times what?
R.
Times r. But if I just times it by r, what term will I have? The fourth term.
And so you gotta keep building.
And I'm going to do it one more time, because if I multiply it by r again, I'm going to get the fifth term. Does everybody agree with me? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to replace what we have. So we know our a of 5 is 76.8. So we got to do this part. Equals a of 3 equals how much? 120. All right, times by r times r. What's the other way we can write r times r? R squared. So write that down. Now we're almost close to finding the ratio. Does anybody know what we have to do next?
We have to.
It's multiplication.
We have to find
Last.
the R.
Yeah, so we got to get rid of 120. How do we get rid of
We
120?
divided it.
Yep, everybody divide by 120, and yeah, this is going to be a decimal, so use your calculator. So r squared equals, and if everybody figures that out for me, and don't say it out loud because I got it right here. I'm going to write it down as we're going through it. So, all right, so your ratio squared for that problem, because by the way, this is one of your homework problems, and this is a homework problem. So I'm taking 2 of the hard ones off your plate, so you'll only have 2. So r squared equals 0.64. All right, now that's r squared. How do we find r?
We plug it into the equation.
Yeah, we got to square root it. So ready, everybody, square root 0.64. So r equals 0.8, just 0.8. Should be 0.8. So r equals 0.8. Is everybody with me? Now, again, I'm going to show you the hard way for, this is the hard part. And then I'm going to show you the easy way. So if you get a little frustrated right now, like, yeah, I can't do that, that's too difficult, I'll show you a shortcut, okay? So we're going to plug it into the formula that we have, okay? The formula that we have is, write this down, a of n equals a of 1 times the ratio n minus 1. Do you guys see that's our formula? Okay, don't we have our ratio now? Yeah? And don't we have a term that we could plug in right here? So what could we plug in here? A to the nth? Well, we're going to plug in the third term. So we're going to plug in 120 equals, we're going to solve for a of 1. Are you guys with me? So we don't know what that is, so put a of 1 right there. Do we know what the ratio is, though? 0.8. Does anybody have a clue what do I put in the n spot?
You put in one or
Three.
Why am I putting in 3?
Because that's the one you have.
Because that's the one we have.
Yeah.
So ready? 3 minus 1. So now what you have to do is 0.8, it's actually 3 minus 1, which is squared, times by a of 1 equals 120. And now our goal is to get a of 1 by itself. So you have to take 0.8 and square it. So I need you to do that math, 0.8 squared. What is it? 0.64, right guys? Okay, 0.64 times by a of 1 equals 120. What's my next step for that? Yep, divide. So I need you, I'm going to move over here. Everyone needs to divide 120 divided by 0.64, and that gives me my a of 1. What is 120 divided by 0.64, guys?
187.5.
Perfect. So my a of 1 equals 187.5. Can I write an explicit rule for this now? Okay, here we go. This is our last step. I'm going to write it up here. A of n equals 187.5 times my ratio. What's my ratio? 0.8. And then n minus 1. How come I'm not putting anything in n minus 1?
Because we already solved for what we need.
And I'm just finding the formula. I'm just writing the formula down. Are you guys with me? Okay, anybody see a shortcut what you can do? Come on, Matt, any mathy, thinking mathy?
No.
All right, hold on to that then. I'm gonna show you with the second problem, and you March Madness guys will know. Not only just guys, I mean people in general. Because this problem right here will make it simple for us. Ready? The numbers of teams remaining in the rounds of a single elimination tennis tournament. Well, a lot of us don't know tennis, but almost all of us know March Madness, right? How many teams do you start out with?
64.
Okay, yeah. Well, this isn't going to start with 64, but you get the right idea. All right, so where A of n is the number of teams competing and n is the round. There are 32 teams remaining in the fourth round. So ready? A of what? 4. Yep, this is a homework problem. Equals how many teams? 32. Yep. A of 6 in the sixth round, how many teams are still there? 8. Our first part, we do have to find the ratio. Okay, we do have to find the ratio. So ready? We're writing A of 4 equals, no, I'm sorry, what should that be? A of 6. Nope, A of 6.
Okay.
Our biggest term that we have. A of 6 equals A of 4 times what? Times R times R. Do you guys see it? A of 4 times R is going to give me A of 5 times R is going to give me A of 6.
So we gotta find the ratio and multiply twice.
Okay, so ready? A of 6 equals 8. Replace. A of 4 equals 32. Replace that. Times R squared. Next step. Yep, divide by 32. Everybody divide by 32. Divide by 32. You don't have to change that to a decimal, just leave it. R squared equals 1 what? 4th. Can you square root 1/4?
You could.
Yeah, without I don't want a calculator. Can you square root 1/4?
Oh, yeah.
What is it, guys? Not 1/8. The square root of 4 is
16.
square root of 4 is 2. 2. So it's 1/2. Yeah, it's 1/2. Okay. So ready? The square root of 1/4 is 1/2. So now we have our ratio.
Yeah.
Now I want you to think for a second. This is A of 4. Do you understand to find A of 3? What would we times 32 by?
1/2.
Why 1/2? Because that
that's
is
our
our
ratio.
ratio. So everybody write this down. A of 4 equals 32. Shortcut. This is your shortcut. So A of 3 equals 32 times 1/2, which is
Oh,
16.
I said that. Yeah.
A of 2 equals 16 times 1/2. 8. So A of 1 equals 4. That is not correct, and now I'm just messed up. Matthew, why didn't you tell me?
No, that's right. That's the final four.
I know. Yeah?
Final four.
No, can you stop talking? Because no offense, but I think that you are the reason I'm going to have to redo this video. So stop talking. So ready? If you look right here, it should be going up because our first, which is the total amount of teams, we have to divide, guys. So we are dividing.
Aiden a boot to the office and bring it back.
Yep. Can you hold for a second, Aiden? I'm done in 30 seconds. So right here, if you look at 32, I'm going to cross those out. You have to divide by, because how do we find our previous term? We would divide by 32. So it's 32 divided by 1/2. What's 32 divided by 1/2? 64. And 64 divided by 1/2 is 128. And 128 divided by 1/2 is 256. So just for the record, if you want to do the shortcut, all you do is take the term you have and divide it by your ratio and work backwards to get the first term. Does that make sense? So I messed that up, and I don't care. I'm going to video it. I'm going to put it on there, so I don't care.
Sorry, video.